So why do we avoid conflict? Well, first of all, it's uncomfortable. It's a lot of discomfort, and many people find conflict inherently unpleasant and stressful. In my family, and you might have experienced this, we didn't talk about conflict. We pretended like it didn't exist, and we would sweep it under the rug. And you know what the problem is when you really often sweep conflict under the rug? Well, the rug's only so big, and oftentimes you end up tripping over the rug. And I can promise you, when you fall on your face after tripping, it's a lot worse than having that initial conversation. Did anybody else grow up in a household like that where we didn't really talk about it? Yes, thank you for your participation and engagement. I appreciate that. That fuels me, so thank you for doing that. So what's the cost of avoidance? Damaged relationships, loss of self-esteem, missed opportunities for growth, and then we often lose team members. And we are really at an inflection point in the world of dentistry, aren't we, with staff turnover? And it costs far more to get a new employee than it does to retain an existing one. So learning these strategies, bringing them back, and actually implementing them is the key. So I want you to recognize that we all have triggers, okay? So for me, a big trigger, when I see somebody crying, it doesn't matter what they're crying about, I'm gonna probably get emotional too. And I know that's gonna be a challenge for me. I can't watch an Olympics, Hallmark commercial, forget it. Like, I don't do well with those things, okay? I see some people can relate to this, but we all have different triggers. So self-awareness, knowing what those triggers are. We're gonna pause and breathe. The power, your power is between stimulus and response. That is where the power exists. And when we're getting heated, it's not always easy to do that pause and breathe thing, right? It was a couple of months ago when I was at a networking event. A woman came up to me and she started asking me a very uncomfortable question, and I could feel my heart rate escalating. I could feel my palms starting to sweat. I couldn't believe she was asking me such a personal question. In the moment, because I practice, okay, this is not something I was good at overnight, so you have to know that it takes time. I said, oh, will you excuse me a minute? I went to the bathroom and I just paused and I took a lot of deep breaths. That is what we have to learn how to do, is when we feel those triggers coming up, and you know your own, right? We all have these different things that let us know. Our body tells us. So as long as we're in touch with our body, we can know to pause and breathe. Okay, so let's talk about keys to success in your conversation. The goal of a critical conversation is to address an important or sensitive issue in a direct, respectful, and productive way that leads to clarity, mutual understanding, and a clear path forward without damaging the relationship.